Hi everybody, Jessie here from jessiebanks.com and welcome back to another video. So for today's video I have another one for the greeting farm. This is the final day of previews. All of these stamp sets over the last 3 days will be available on Monday the 15th of October. So I am starting off with a new watercolor for me. This is M. Graham's Cobalt Teal. You can see it running out, so I just needed that little bit because I'm just doing a gradated wash. That's kind of the focus of this video. I am doing some Copic coloring, but I'm worried more about the wash. So I'm using a flat 3/4 inch Preston and Neptune faux squirrel brush here. And I'm starting by laying down a coat of water on top of my Arches cold press watercolor paper. So I'm just making sure that it's wet, but it's not like sopping or super shiny. I just want the paper to be damp so that the watercolor can flow and do its thing. So I'm going to add a bunch of water to my paint here, and I'm just going to start by putting it in a little heavier at the top and then adding more water to the color as I blend it out towards the bottom just to fade it back into the white of the paper. Then I'm going to set it aside and let it dry, and we're going to work on some Copic coloring. I am letting this dry naturally. Watercolors, when they're drying, as long as that paper is cool, it's wet. And as long as it's wet, the watercolor's moving and doing its thing. I will come in and put another layer on, and you'll see that a bit later on here in the video. But I just want to make sure that everything is dry before I come back in. So I'm stamping all of this out just with some Copic-friendly black ink on Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock. As for the watercolor, that's a butcher's tray that I picked up at a local art store. I use it all the time when I'm using a couple colors and things of that nature. Or if you've watched any of my color focus videos where I pick a tube color and I show you what you can mix with it and I tell you about the properties and we do some swatching and have some fun with that specific color, it's kind of the same idea with that butcher tray. It gives me lots of space to blend out lots of big puddles of water, and I really appreciate it. So what I'm doing here is coloring all of our skin tones. I'm going in with my standard skin tone, which is E04, E13, E11, E21, and then I either use E00, E51, and then I use either E000 and E50, and I kind of use them interchangeably and mix them together just to give slight variations on the skin tones, so that's what I'm going to be doing here. These guys are ever so adorable. I'm really enjoying the Greeting Farms release this month. We've got 2 sets with smaller characters and then the one big Anya. I didn't film a video with her. There's a link to my blog in the description box below if you missed it and want to see her. She's super cute. I did like a really pretty watercolored background and then a Copic colored image on top of it. So I've been having a blast making videos, you guys. It's fun being back. See, what happened was I got lazy and I moved part of my craft room up to my kitchen table, and I don't have all my lighting and stuff up there, so I can't film when it's dark out or when it's gloomy out or if after a certain time and all of that. So I could only film like 2 days a week in like a 5-hour window to be able to film everything. And then I decided that my house looked like a disaster because there was card making stuff everywhere. Literally everywhere. I had no dining room. It was insane. So I moved it all back downstairs, which allows me to film a lot more, and I have the lighting and all of that, and while I'm down here I might as well film it all. So you guys are seeing a lot more videos from me, and I hope you guys are enjoying them as much as I have been enjoying making them for you guys. Now we've gone through our coloring. I'm coming back and I'm going in with a second coat of color. I did not wet the paper before I came back in, and I'm just doing the same technique as I did before. I'm starting with a more concentrated color at the top and then fading it out to white as it goes down. And then I'll set it aside and let it dry again. I really enjoy that technique and just letting it dry on its own and moving as much as it wants to move. It just seems to give me a better effect than when I force dry it with a heat gun. Now you definitely can do that if you're impatient like I usually am. I just find that your blend is smoother at the end if you let it do its own thing naturally. You can see that in the videos at the start of the video here, and then there's another one at the end if you're a little more interested in seeing that gradation in the colors for the ombre. So yeah, that was the fun in this card. I know this one's super clean and simple, but I really was happy with it. So now we're going through and doing the hair. When I do my Copic coloring, I tend to go dark to light for everything except for the hair. When I color their hair, I go light to dark, and that's simply so that I don't blend out and fade out all of those darker colors and have to go back in and add them. I want a lot of contrast in those little strokes of color, as opposed to them fading naturally into each other so you can't see those. It's the only reason I do it backwards there. And I'm lazy and only like to color with one layer, so I found a way to make it happen in one layer. So we're doing him a little bit of an ashy blonde, and then our last boy gets more of a darker browny red color. These guys are super cute. This whole set is just full of little boys, and I have a son. He's 8. and he was quite excited when I kept design team parcels and stuff from whoever, packages from whatever companies and all of that. I let my son open them because he thinks it's fun to see the stamps before me and have me guess. So he squealed when he opened up this stamp set because it was all boys. And I knew it was all boys as soon as he screamed, because he gets excited when there's boy things that come in Mom's parcels, because a lot of the time Mom likes to color, you know, flowers and fairies and girly things. So he really appreciates it when there's a, what does he call them? When there's a man set to be had. So we're finishing up their hair, and then we're going to start on their pants. Now what I did was the first little guy goes in the middle, and then the next two guys go on either side of him. So I made sure that the pants on this first little boy, I used this BG combination, were different than the other two, just to kind of keep them a little bit more separated as opposed to being the same all the way across. So I gave him like green pants, and then I gave these guys like blue jean colored pants. As you can see, as per always, I put the Copic lid off to the side of the image as I'm coloring it, so you know what marker I am using while I'm using it. Getting through those pants. These images are so tiny. You do not need to put this many colors into it, you guys. I put way too many Copic colors into all of my combinations because I'm ridiculous. You do not need, you need 2-3 colors tops to do any of this blending. There's no reason to. If you do not have those markers, use what you have, enjoy them, learn. It all comes with practice. So I don't feel you need to buy them all just to have them all because somebody used this one or whatever. So I'm using my neutral grays to add the whites to the t-shirt and then the cuffs and things on the other little boy. I know it looks very, very great at the start, but once it's all on and done, it looks a little more white. They did come out a little gray. I went a little bit too dark, but that's okay. I wasn't starting over when I was this far in, that's for sure. So we're going to give him a little purple shirt on the outside here, and then the other little boy is going to get a green one. So this is my favorite green combination, YG 97, 95, 93, no, I used 63 this time, okay, and then I go over it with a yellow, just to make sure that those colors get a little more yellowed out. I'm coloring in their boots, and that's going to be it for those little guys. I'm going to cut them out with their coordinating die cut, after I outline them with a multi-liner, just to make sure that those black lines are really enforced. I do that on all of my images, no matter what medium I'm coloring in. Now I fight with them to pull them off without ripping them. And then we're going to remove our little watercolor panel here from the, I can't speak, from the Epicurean board. Glue it down onto an A2 size top folding card base. Then we're going to stamp our little sentiment here that says you're one of a kind. So what I do is I'm going to put this in, and then I'm just going to place those 3 little guys randomly across the top, roughly how high I'm going to want them to be. And then I'm going to futz with this to try and get it centered. I putz with it a little bit before I get it the way I want it. But once I get it on there, I am going to stamp it in black ink. I used VersaFine. I wasn't really worried about what ink it was because I wasn't doing anything over top of it, so it didn't really matter. Then we're going to glue our outside 2 little boys flat onto the paper. And we're going to pop our little boy with his tongue out up in the middle. And that will be it for this card, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I really am happy to share a little bit more about how I do ombre backgrounds and my watercolor backgrounds as I'm going through things. If you guys did enjoy this video, please give me a thumbs up. It lets me know what kind of videos you guys like, as well as helps the channel out greatly. If you aren't subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe. Leave me a comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.